In a land where ancient gods walk the earth, where men slaughter men for gold and power, will you survive, or will you dominate?
Games around, and I felt like this one actually had quite a structured, tiered system to, you know, having PvP and clan wars and stuff. And
yeah,
I really did like that.
Yeah, like we've one of our goals for this game at Funcom has been to have the best PvP melee combat, because what we noticed was that a lot of open world survival games they have shooter mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing. You try to get guns as quickly as possible, and then you walk around shooting people in the head.
Seems like the smart thing to do.
Yeah, of course. But like this being set supposedly thousands and thousands of years ago, you can't just like craft a gun. So we need like the world of Conan has to be brutal. It has to be like really like impactful and hard hitting. So we had a good base that we set off from, and then eventually we've iterated upon the combat system, and things aren't done as far as combat is concerned. We're going to be adding more and more stuff.
I noticed that, you know, very, very early on there was even like a little a sidestep dodge mechanic and things.
Yeah.
And admittedly, I haven't played it in probably the last like 3 months or so.
Sure.
But I'm excited to see where it's going to go and obviously where it's come from.
Yeah.
And it had a really great starting point.
Yeah, like the sidestep combat, the sidestep dodge has now been swapped out by a full dodge roll.
Okay.
If you're wearing light armor, if you're wearing heavier armor, you will just do the light step to the side.
Okay.
So
Just fall over to the side.
Yeah,
like that.
see, like that. And so we've tried to take like some inspiration from other games that do like really good combat mechanics.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like stamina management when you're fighting, inspired by Dark Souls and those kinds of games. And we're also going to be adding eventually like a combo system and other things that players will be allowed to do.
Like that,
Yeah.
Yes.
Climbing.
So we got some climbing.
Climbing is it's a very recent thing that we've added. It's also something that consumes stamina, but of course stamina comes back hopefully fairly quickly.
Early on again, like people would find sneaky ways to build their bases where it's impossible to destroy them because they'd build them on top of these like spires and then destroy all the stairs when they go to bed at night. So then you can't get into their base and raid them.
Absolutely. And we've always wanted players to be able to get up there. We just couldn't really figure out how to do it.
How it was fair.
Yeah, until we figured like, hey, Conan does a lot of climbing in the stories about Conan the Barbarian.
Why not
let players do this stuff?
It's like
the original parkour artist.
Yeah, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Like the ultimate crossover cliffhanger Conan.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They should do a sequel to that. There's a Stallone movie. I think it's Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, yeah.
Yeah, Cliffhanger and Conan. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the ultimate collaboration. But so obviously, you know, having the game launch late January.
Right.
What have you guys learned since then and brought into the game now? And I mean, coming to Xbox as well.
It has come to Xbox. It came to Xbox last week.
That's what I'm saying, right?
August
so
16th,
like, coming to Xbox, obviously a big deal for people out there who, you know, console owners wanted to get their hands on some Conan.
Absolutely, yeah.
Smash it. Sledgehammer.
Yeah, if you want to smash the head in of a deer, you can totally do that in the Exile lands.
Yeah.
Elephants, I'd be careful with.
Yeah, be very careful with the elephants. And their more hairy cousins, the mammoth up north.
Yeah.
Which they will wreck you if they find you.
That's one thing actually, again, I really liked is the PvE in this was quite good. early on there was already bosses and little dungeons and stuff you could do.
Yeah. We added a ton of like cave areas basically where there were rare resources, so you had to go into the caves to get there. And then eventually, right before Easter, we added a whole dungeon called the Dregs, which has this like slimy slug like snake thing at the end.
Okay.
And then if you defeat the snake at the end of the Dregs, you will get the ability to craft armor out of his remains, basically. Yeah. So you'll have to like run this dungeon several times in order
to get enough materials to get out your whole clone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Snake armor.
To get back to your question, one of the things that we've learned the most is that people are very like when you launch a game in early access, you open yourself to a large amount of scrutiny. Like people will
haters, if you will.
Not exactly haters, but like people will like if you put out patch notes, people will like. They will go through them with a fine-tooth comb, and they will double and triple check that you have fixed what you say that you have fixed. And so, in a lot of cases, there are more ways to kill a deer and skin a cat. Yeah, and there are more than one way to make a bug appear in the game. And so sometimes we've told players like, hey, yeah, we fixed this bug, and then they go, no, you haven't, because if I do this, this, and this, we have another bug. Yeah. But people have been very good to us. It's been good to have such a vocal fan base who like really love this stuff and really love these games and want this to be as good as it can be. And so we've done some things and some changes to the game that we've based on like players' feedback, and we're going to continue to do so as we go through early access.
I think with these early access games, like you say, you are opening yourself up to scrutiny. And I do think generally gamers are just getting a little bit better at understanding that this is so early in the process of a game's production that there's going to be bugs, there's going to be massive errors, and you might do something in a patch which creates 10 more bugs that you didn't even contemplate.
Oh yes,
and
absolutely.
They're going to get angry about it, but I think that they understand that this is a process, and obviously normally a AAA game would come out and that process has happened behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So they are getting it early, but they need to just kind of accept that there's going to be bugs.
Yeah, but I also think that early access, like what people assume will happen in early access, what people think early access has changed a bit.
Yeah.
So like a few years ago, maybe people were a bit more tolerant with unfinished game stuff and unfinished and like bugs, basically.
And I think that games, there are some studios that will release a game and say, oh, this is beta or beta, however you want to pronounce it. And really, it's the final client. Very little changes between then and actual launch.
Yeah.
Whereas early access is really early access.
Yes. But then it's all about communication. It's always about telling people like, hey, we hear what you're saying, and we're going to make these and these and these changes, and eventually we're going to add these gameplay features, and we're going to add these gameplay features. It's going to be like we're going to do more stuff, and we're going to do more stuff that we want to do, and we're going to do more stuff that you want to do. So
cool. So what kind of stuff do you guys want to do?
Oh God. Well, two of the things that we're now like working on and considering is something called the Purge, which is the main conceit is that there will be NPC armies that come from outside the Exile lands where the entire game takes place.
Nice.
Which is the Exile lands itself is sort of like a prison for players. Like you start off being nailed to a cross, and then Conan comes along, he cuts you down, and he basically tells you to, okay, you have your life back now, survive in this land. And so if you try to leave, there's a bracelet on your arm that will instantly kill you.
He's got you on Conan house arrest?
No, not really. Someone else has you on house arrest, and that might be part of the lore behind the game, why you're on house arrest. But for the Purge, like there are countries around the Exile lands, and so the leaders of these countries will go, hey, I don't like the fact that there are a bunch of maybe dangerous criminals inside this desert area, inside this giant place. So maybe I should send in some of my armies to just like take care of them. And so the main conceit is that there will be NPC armies come in to kill and wreck as much as possible. And so it's mostly based as a PvE event, but then like players can band together, players can double cross each other if they want to. Players will have to like shore up their defenses and make sure that everything is like really tight and can withstand the Purge.
You could almost, if there was an enemy clan on the server and there was a big PvE thing coming to attack their base, you could almost help the NPCs and just try and help them get into the enemy base and just let them do all the dirty work for
you. Or you can just say like, hey, Clan A, we're Clan B, let's just band together, and then suddenly Clan B betrays Clan A, for example, like ruins the alliance.
It's rough.
Oh yeah, it's rough out. It's hard out there in the Exile
I do love open PvP games because you almost the story just emerges from the interactions between the players.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's been some really cool stories from players as well.
Not only stories, but also just events that they make.
Yes,
is really cool.
Yeah,
we have trebuchets in the game, and they've made like putt-putt golf trebuchet kind of thing, and it's awesome.
It's really cool, yeah. Where they make like a box out of in the building system with just like a hole in it, an open roof basically, and then they try to fling rocks and try to hit within the par limit.
Or people.
When we played, we built like an arena, and then to join our clan, the subs had to beat each other to death. Naked, of course. Yeah. And then the victor would then join the clan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And get close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
One of the things that we're also working on and hopefully want to roll out in not too long a time is a system for taming and using mounts in the game.
Nice.
And one of the things that we're considering doing is that there will be young animals and there will be like older animals. So if you capture young animals, for example, you can domesticate them quite easily, and then as they grow older, they will basically work for you because you've domesticated them to be your pets, basically.
Like a little chick.
Yeah.
But a rhino.
Exactly. But like bigger and older animals, they need to get their wills broken. They need to be like dragged back to your base, stuck in like an animal pen where the animal trainer will basically like whip them into shape for you and like make them your own. You have to like really break them down. Like you would break a wild horse, for example.
So if you could tame a baby animal.
A baby animal?
What's your baby animal of choice? Like, what's the one you'd be like, I'm going to tame this one? Like, it doesn't have to be in the game, but it could be. But, you know, just like, I want to tame this thing, make it my own. I'm going to ride it like a mouse, or just like, it's going to be the best pet.
Sure, yeah.
Ostrich.
Ostrich?
It's all about the ostriches.
Like the ostriches?
Yeah, like that one scene in Ace Ventura 2 where he crashes through the wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he comes riding in on an ostrich. Yeah, it's just like that. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Gets really hot in these rhinos.
Someone actually, because there are rhinos in the game, someone actually took a GIF from that movie when he tries to get through the rhino butt and sent it to us because here's a shot from Conan Exiles. They told us like with the
I'm cheating a little bit.
Yeah, and we're playing on the single player mode. People can also play online on official servers or on private servers if they want to. If they're playing in the single player mode, which is what we're in right now, you can also have access to this admin panel, which basically allows you to cheat a little bit. It allows you to
if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Sure, yeah, exactly. So you can quickly, like Nicole here's done, spawn in building pieces, spawn in weapons, spawn in all kinds of resources in case you don't want to like go through the grind. You can also, when you're playing single player, you can set your own server settings basically, because when you're playing single player, you're creating like a local co-op server on your machine, and so you can basically tell the game like, hey, I don't want to be all grind heavy. Give me twice the amount of resources whenever I pick something up. So like you pick up 1 stick and you get 2 sticks. You destroy, like you would normally get 5 rocks by destroying a rock, and then you get 10 rocks instead.
And it doesn't look very complicated to put all this stuff together.
It's not really complicated yet.
Yeah,
it's not complicated
the hell
yet.
out of that box.
But we've seen players build some really amazing, like big, huge stuff. Because as mentioned previously, you can build up on like cliffs on the side of mountains and cliffs. And people have been able to really do some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the building aspects. I will usually make like giant round towers with like terraces and balconies around. That's sort of my favorite thing to do.
Up in the north, we had like there's like an area that's kind of like a valley, and there's almost like Pride Rock.
Yes.
In the center of it, and we took that for our own. And right on the top is where like all of the important stuff was kept, and then we had like a nice stairway all the way around, and then just all of our subs had to guard us from the floor.
There is actually in the eastern part of the desert map, there's like a savanna, and one of our environmental artists, he actually put in Pride Rock from The Lion King.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's almost 1-to-1, and of course then people made the GIF. People made the GIF of Conan just like holding Simba from Pride Rock because you obviously have to do that.
Because if he were to find a baby lion, tame it.
So you say, you're saying about domesticating animals. Would you be able to tame hyenas and have them essentially on guard?
That is, for example, something we're considering. Yeah,
Okay.
basically having animals.
Yeah, like guard dogs, but hyenas.
Exactly. Yeah, and there is a faction in the game that we call the Dogs of the Desert, and they're basically their whole thing is doing that. They will tame hyenas and use them as their own pets, basically.
Yeah.
Just like an army of animals that are just on your side and ready to protect you at all costs.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. And of course, like stuff that you build can also be climbed by other players, so you have to make sure that you have enough defenses to protect yourself against those nasty.
I'll have ladders everywhere, and then just like break the top. Of
oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, you can also hang from ceilings and.
So you really got to think about your base design.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I mean, come on, it's all about upper body strength. You've got to make sure that you can hang from the rafters. Look at it.
You have to do the pull-ups.
He's like, I'm still hanging. Still holding.
Still holding.
Still holding.
So can you presumably you can't hang indefinitely?
If you're just hanging there, it shouldn't consume a large amount of stamina, but so you can like stay still for a while. But then the moment you start moving,
as a sentry moves past.
Exactly. Yeah. But
Conan sleeps like a bat. He's just like hanging there. He's just like. This is how I sleep. I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Nobody bother me.
But there's a stamina management thing to climbing, and if you're wearing heavier armor, your stamina will drain faster.
Yeah.
And so you can't climb for very long if you're wearing heavy armor.
But your biceps will get bigger.
Yeah.
You know, from your hanging there in the armor.
Well, there is stats. So would that affect your climbing? So obviously if you've got lots of stamina, you can climb for a long time.
We have an attributes system that we call the Savages system, because the first letter in every attribute becomes Savages. And so if you level up as you level up, you can put points into these attributes. And then if you, for example, put points into what's called grit, you will get a bigger stamina pool. And if you put points into survival, you don't have to eat or drink as often. Strength is obviously your strength stat. Agility is your ability to dodge and ability to take damage. Vitality is your health, etc. So we want players to try to like make characters as befitting them, basically. So if you want to make like an archer character, you can do that. If you just want to make like a brutal dude who just goes around and swings a hammer, then you can totally do that as well.
So like just Bronan.
Yes.
Bronan.
For example. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. So can I have access to this little cheat menu if I'm playing on Xbox?
Yes.
Nice.
If you're playing single player on Xbox, totally.
Yeah.
Done.
Or if you're the admin on a server.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
That's the first thing I'm doing.
No, it's great. Yeah.
Get yourself a massive sword.
Yeah. And then massive biceps.
I remember the dark woods, masking slopes of somber hills, the grey clouds' leaden, everlasting arch, the dusky streams that flowed without a sound, and the lone winds that whispered down the passes. Soul of mine, how many deaths shall serve to break at last this heritage which wraps me in the grey apparel of ghosts? I search my heart and find Cimmeria, land of darkness and the night.